Hello everyone! Welcome to this tutorial on how to use Saint ships. In this video I will explain how to get started, how to make vehicles, and more. Saint ships adds wrenches. These are tools you will be using to make vehicles. There are 4 tiers, each adding more possibilities to the vehicle, ranging from wood, to iron, to nether, and finally the ultimate tier. You can craft all of the wrenches using these recipes. For now, I'll be using the iron wrench. Let's get started. To convert a structure into a vehicle, it's quite simple. We take our build and we add a lectern to it. This is going to become our driver's seat. So wherever you place this is where you're going to be seated. So I'll just put mine here. Now, before we assemble, we need to set our bounding box. This will tell the game what size our vehicle can be. While this step can be skipped, it's quite useful, especially if you're building in a garage, for example. Otherwise, the vehicle may end up taking a part of the building with it. First, type /trigger set bounding. This will display a small menu with a few buttons. For those who want to skip this step, click the max box button. This allows the vehicle to take up as much space as it can. Let's set up the bounding box. Press toggle box. This should start displaying 6 different walls. Each of these are a different axis, marked by color. This is centered on the player, but let's move ourselves to the lectern, since that's where the vehicle will start. To adjust the scale of the box, click on any of the directions marked below axis modes. So let's, for example, make the roof a little taller. Yeah, it'll be fine, but let's move it up a little bit. So we can then click below here, we'll change size. We can then press one of these buttons to change by a certain value. So when we are 1 or 5 or 10, or if we just want to shrink it down as much as possible. Let's have it set like this, and actually I think this is already looking pretty good. When adjusting the box, keep in mind that any blocks outside will not be considered as part of the vehicle. So if my x-axis, for example, was any smaller, then the spoiler would not be carried along. Which isn't the greatest, because we want to keep that spoiler. That spoiler looks cool. So what we do is we change the x-axis again, and then we increase it by, I'll just do 2 just in case. And this should be enough for the spoiler and everything else to be included. We can then toggle box again to hide it fully. You can also, of course, as an extra feature, use an armor stand called bounding target, placing the armor stand on top of the lectern and clicking toggle box until it is on armor stand mode. This will really help if you're building like bigger vehicles without having the box centered on the player. Very useful. So this vehicle looks good, and keep in mind that when you're building this, the bounding box should always be centered on the lectern, since that's going to be our starting point. Now, we can remove the armor stand, and we can assemble the vehicle, which is quite simple. You shift click the lectern with the wrench, and this will convert it into a vehicle, like this. And now we can simply click to sit on it, and then we can drive around with it. Now, there may be a point where you want to disassemble the vehicle, or like make changes. This can be done by aligning the vehicle first. You hold the wrench, click it while seated, which will align the vehicle. It will snap to the nearest solid angle, and then once that's done, hold the wrench in your offhand and click to disassemble. And now we're free to add any extra blocks. It's important to know that the area has to be clear, else the vehicle will display an error and mark the conflicting blocks. To fix it, either move the car, or destroy the blocks that were blocking the car. Each vehicle has its own set of controls. However, they're simple to understand. Ships and boats use WASD to move, space to ascend, and shift to descend. Cars use WASD to move and shift to speed up. And lastly, trains use WASD to move and shift to brake. Alright, there are a bunch of special blocks. These range from wheels to balloons to seats and many more. So let's go over each type. Starting with wheels. These allow a vehicle to drive on land, and require at least 10% of its blocks to be wheels to do so. Balloons. These allow your ship to fly, and require at least 25% of its blocks to be balloons to do so. However, to fly, you will need to use a nether or ultimate wrench. Alright, so the next ones are all quite related. These are added blocks you can throw into your car to upgrade its capacity and functionality. So, starting with an engine, you can add a blast furnace or a beacon onto your car to increase its speed. Depending on the tier of your wrench, you can include a different type of engine. So we're starting out with a very cheap blast furnace, and we can end up with a beacon later on. We can also add some storage onto the car using chests, and if we want to have a friend to tag along, we'll just add a few carpets. These will become seats. So when we build the car, we will have full access to the chests. We'll be able to drive quite fast, and if we have any friends, not here, we can, if we have any friends, they can sit on the spoiler. Oh great! Now you may also be wondering, harvesters, what do those do? Well, if you add copper grates to your car, you can actually turn it into a harvesting vehicle. So if we have the wheat field here, we can drive around, and it will just automatically harvest all the wheat for us. Let's make some room in inventory. Make sure you don't go too fast, as otherwise the vehicle will skip a little bit of the crops. So this pack also includes trains. Trains are made using minecarts, rails, and a lectern. Unlike conventional vehicles, trains have a taller seat and are controlled a little differently. So let's build one. For the sake of the video, I'm going to make a very cheap and simple train, consisting of just a lectern and a platform. I'm just gonna move this car a little bit, and let's do this. Here we go. So I'm just gonna make a simple wooden platform. Alright, so for the sake of this video, I've made the two very small carts. Make sure you place the lectern above the rail, like this, and place the minecart in between. Then we take a wrench, and like usual, we just assemble them. We can move the cart with WASD, and stop it with shift. The cart will always move towards where you're facing. Alright, let's make the other cart too. And now we have two carts. And this is where trains get a little interesting, because they have an extra feature allowing them to be connected together. First, click near the train of choice you want to start linking your cart to. So let's click to this one. Then we take our caboose, and we want to add this to be connected to that one. So then we just simply click nearby, and it will link it to it, and now the two are linked. And now the train is able to move around. Look at us go. It's recommended to make your corners a little longer, like this, so the trains can handle them better, since 90-degree turns have a chance of disconnecting the trains entirely. And with that, you should be good to drive your train around. Final note, while most blocks are supported, some may not be compatible. The list of supported blocks will be updated in the future, however it is possible to update the list manually using a datapack. If there's anything I've missed in the video you'd like me to cover, let me know. I hope this helped you understand the pack a little better. Be sure to like the video and subscribe, as we're really close to hitting 100 subscribers. That's all from me though. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!